The NFL has a ton of classic home field traditions, such as the Lambeau Leap, Bills fans jumping through tables, and the Chargers fans not showing up.
I mean, I definitely can enjoy myself. Even though I have great seats at the bottom, I'm up here because I can't sit anywhere near my seats because everyone around me is Eagles fans.
But when the NFL gets tired of them, they play games in London, especially with the Jaguars. In today's video, I'm going to go over the history of NFL games in London, and more specifically, London's own team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. All the way back in 2007, the NFL decided, hey, I know we've dominated the United States market, but how about let's go back to Europe? We had NFL Europe in the past and it failed, but let's try something else. And they started having one NFL game in London per year. It started out with the New York Jets versus Miami Dolphins, and it was actually a decent game, with the Giants ending up winning 13-10. And what this proved was that people in London actually do like football, because the stadium was full, packed full of fans who loved it. And of course, when the NFL sees an opportunity to expand its market, they're going to capitalize. So since then, they've tried to have NFL games in London every single year, except for COVID. However, there were some downsides to these London games. First off, some teams had to fly all the way from California. So these teams like the Chargers would have to go on an 11-hour flight in the middle of the NFL season. Once they get there, of course, not a home field, so there are fans of just the NFL in general. Then there's also the major expense that the NFL has to pay a lot of money to rent out the soccer stadium and to convert it into a football stadium. And then finally, your fans at home are pretty inconvenienced. These games start at 9:30 Eastern or 6:30 Pacific. So you would have to wake up pretty early to watch your team play. And there's the logistical problem of, will this team play the next week? So they have to fly to London, play, and fly back. That takes a lot of time. They don't really have time to practice, and they're going to be jet lagged. What do you do? And the NFL decided to give you the option to take your bye week the week after, or not. However, since these games are early in the season, almost every team opted out of taking their bye week, and they just dealt with the jet lag. Then in 2012, the NFL decided that England should have its own team, and it kind of looked around the league for volunteers, and of course, there actually weren't that many. Teams like the Steelers, the Eagles, the Packers, they have such a strong fan base at home, and they just wanted to play at home, where their fans are. But there were a few teams who saw this as a great opportunity, and the Rams signed up. However, since they're not the focus of this video, you probably know it didn't work out, and the Rams actually backed out. But the Jaguars, under their new owner Shahid Khan, swooped in and decided, we will play in London every single year. And the tradition started there. Other than the Jaguars getting a new owner, there was a big reason for why the Jaguars were the team to play there, and that is that they have consistently been the least popular team in the NFL. So if you're not popular here, losing a home game is not that big of a deal. It's probably not sold out anyway. Who cares? Just play somewhere else. And they had the hope that they would really grow a fan base over in London. And it has some, because beforehand it had zero fan base. However, in a recent poll of NFL fans in London, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the 21st most popular team. So I guess it is not paying off. And in case you're curious, the number one team in London is the Miami Dolphins. But back to the Jaguars, has playing in London every single year helped them in any way? So, as you might know, the Jaguars are a bad NFL team. And over the past 11 years, they have played in London 10 times. And in these 10 games, they have 5 wins and 5 losses. And many of these losses are blowouts. But there are a few good ones that snuck in there. So, 500, not very good. But then remember, it's the Jaguars. And over the past 11 years, the Jaguars have 51 wins and 115 losses. So based off this, the expected win total in these 10 games is only 3. So that means the Jaguars are almost twice as likely to win in London as they are when they play here. And in the Jaguars' only 10-win season over the past 11 years, they did win in London. So statistically, if they lose in London, there's a 0% chance they make it to 10 wins. But some of this is kind of old data, and things might have turned around for the Jaguars. So since things have changed in the recent past, I'll go over just Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence in his career is 14-24, but in London he's 2-1. So maybe they're onto something there. And this year there is an additional wrinkle. The Jaguars are playing not only one game there, but they are actually playing 2 games in London, and they are in back-to-back weeks. So instead of flying there and flying back, the Jaguars have just stayed there. So they don't have to deal with any of the jet lag, any of the travel. They're just chilling in London. I mean, I know they're, rich multimillionaires, so they're probably not just sitting in the hotel room, but they have a definite advantage. I mean, not having to travel at all, it's actually essentially like a home game. But they do have a big challenge in playing the Bills. So even though they have an advantage, it might not be enough. If you've made it this far into the video, please consider liking and subscribing. But back to the video. Another reason why the Jaguars have continued to play in London is that they're in constant negotiations with the city of Jacksonville. They want Jacksonville to pay hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to build them a new stadium, or at least renovate their old stadium. So they need a threat for where they could move to. So the Jaguars have constantly been threatening to move to London. Now, if a team actually moved to London, it would be such a disaster because of the travel. You can't. You'd have to have them play 8 straight home games and then 8 straight away games. And if somehow they get a home playoff game, then that's just bad. Like, that's a huge mess. None of the away team fans would be able to go. But I guess it's kind of an upside because the home team would be packed and they'd have a crazy crowd. But I don't think anybody besides NFL owners looking for money wants an NFL team in Europe. And if you're wondering how much do other teams play in London, the answer is not that much. The Jaguars, of course, have played there 10 times, and the second highest is the Dolphins playing there 5 times. So in review, the NFL decided to play in London because they wanted more money, they wanted to expand their market. It lets the fans watch games at 6 a.m. on the West Coast, and it makes NFL players go through a lot of travel. And the Jaguars decided, hey, we don't actually have that many fans, and we have a new owner who's not from the United States. We might as well just play a game each year in London. So now the tradition has started, and I can assure you it won't stop as long as it makes financial sense for the NFL. But as far as helping the Jaguars out, because they're used to it, maybe something like that, they're 5-5, so not very good. But if you extrapolated their expected wins, they would only have 3. So it kind of does actually improve their win rate. So anyways, thanks for watching my video. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and bye.